Welcome everyone to episode 91 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam Amy and Russell Gibson. We are in the home stretch to 100. 91.
Very much, yeah.
Just think about it. By the time the new NBA season rolls around, we'll probably be well over 100 episodes.
Yeah, it would be very close, wouldn't it? Maybe in pre-season.
Be the preseason. Big celebration. Yes. We're still recapping the season that was. For those that didn't tune into the last episode, go back and listen to number 90 because we stepped through the big key points of the 2022-23 season, started going over some of our old favorites like Cade Cunningham, Zion Williamson. Well, he's not just our favorite. But anyway,
he's Moira's favorite. Let's be honest.
He's definitely Moira's favorite.
Yeah.
So what are we kicking it off with now?
I think the perfect way to start this show is with a tweet from Eric Whiteback, the collectibles guru. Last night, a LeBron James rookie patch autograph parallel numbered to 23 sold at auction for $510,000. Another copy of this exact card with the same grade sold for $2.1 million June 22. This marks the lowest sale of this card since 2006 when a raw copy listed on eBay sold for $5,600. So what's your thoughts about that, Dad?
These are cards that are worth the price of a house. This is just the economy, isn't it?
So
I've never owned a card.
Yeah, of course. Like, we're talking about...
It's not the same card, though. It's the same grade, is what Eric's pointed out. It's not the exact same card. It's not someone's gone, I bought it for $2.1 million and I sold it for $500.
I think what he's saying is there's 23 of that card and 2 of them have sold in the last 12
months. Yep. But it's quite possible that somebody pulled that card, got it graded, it was an 8.5, and sold it for $500,000.
It's possible that they bought it in 2006 for $5,600 and then sold it for $500.
Bang.
That is possible, yeah.
Right.
And that's what I was about to say to you. I feel like this tweet very much depends on whether do you think the cup is half full or half empty?
I think it's half full because I think Eric is very quick to say it if it's the exact same card. So I don't think it's the exact same card. And I think both people that sold it for $2.1 million and $510,000 are both very happy individuals and both made a lot of money on it.
You could also make the argument that the person who paid $2.1 million for it and then just saw one sell for $500,000
cried a little bit on the inside.
Might be a little bit disappointed. Yeah. Because they could say, well, if I had waited...
Might have thought they overpaid.
Yeah. Do you think that, now keeping that in mind, so now do you think the cup is half full or half empty at the moment?
Half full. I'm still half full on it. And
I feel too, yeah. Because I think that if you're selling a piece of cardboard with a piece of uniform in it with an autograph on it for $500,000 US, which is probably close to, say, 800,000 Aussie, you know, I think we need to, like, really keep this in perspective. I think that's fantastic.
Yes. I feel like if you could go with a little piece of cardboard that's got an autograph on it and a number and say, I'd like to swap this for a house. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like this is a classic male versus female conversation because the male will be like, nah, I'll keep this. Like, we don't need a house, do we? Whereas the wife would be like, are you crazy?
Why have you got that still? Sell the damn thing, get us a house.
Let's pay a mortgage, you know, yeah.
Yep.
I'm probably just made a very gendered...
I think there's a lot of non-hobby partners out there that would see a card that value and be, please sell that so we can pay our mortgage off.
Right. Now, the thing that I actually wanted to say about LeBron James this year is that I know I enjoy making fun of the Lakers, you know.
Most people do.
They deserve it. Like, let's also, you know, be honest about it.
When you've won as many championships as the Lakers have, and
they've poached as many players that, you know, that they have.
Oh, did you hear that Chris Paul might be coming? Anyway.
But I will say this about LeBron is that he's really creeping into my mind of just how important, you know, he has been.
Just in the landscape, yeah.
Yeah. Just, you know, to the NBA in general, to, you know, cards, I think he's going to be really, really important. And I also think maybe too, look, it's a little bit difficult to say we've taken him for granted hobby-wise because, you know, I think Lakers PYT prices are always up there. And that's despite the fact that he doesn't sign in products. So maybe imagine what they would go for if he was actually signing.
True.
But I really think now is the time to start putting some LeBron into your PC.
Yep. He's not got long left in the league. That's
Am
for
I
sure.
making you recommendations? You should buy this card, that card? No, I'm definitely not. I think find your price point, buy a card that looks aesthetically pleasing to you, and just enjoy it, because
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a bit like Jordan in that all of these cards, they're always going to be flippable. They're always going to have a bit of value to them. And I also suspect too, some of these crazy, weird inserts are just going to pop up in value one day, just like how Jordan stuff does, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's where he's now sitting in my mind, basically in the same sentence as Jordan. So,
and if anyone thinks that record's going to get broken anytime soon, they're dreaming.
Yeah.
Like, he's in the forefront of everyone's mind.
So the one that I have been keeping my eye on for a very long time now is the 2008 Topps Chrome LeBron James. It's the chalk toss.
Yes.
I love this card more than I probably should.
Mm.
The PSA 10 last sold for $500 USD. Do I think that's a fantastic?
Which one's this? I know that. I could. Yeah, the Cleveland. The only problem I have with this card is its orientation.
I think for horses for courses, I feel like in this particular instance, that's perfect because it gives you that
need
sort
the
of
whole thing for
yeah.
I guess you get that graded in the Kobe tribute dunk, the Prism, the two LeBrons, and you can have them side by side. There's your pair.
And then people who are a bit need things in a very particular way, then you'll be feeling okay. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I just have a problem with landscape cards.
Tell me about a LeBron that you think is worth having in your PC.
I think I just mentioned it. The Kobe tribute. That's the one that I've got. I've sat with my Kobe's at the moment.
Yeah,
it will be replaced by something else at some point. But that's more of a Lakers thing for me. Like that's him as a Laker.
Yeah, that's like that ticks off more than one box, right? Lakers, LeBron, Kobe,
yeah.
So are you going to deep dive into that and start chasing down some parallel, some numbered stuff?
Either some numbered stuff or I think LeBron, to me, it's sort of with that Curry. Do you know that it's a Hall of Famer that you've got to have one of in your PC? It doesn't have to be a statement piece, but it's just something you're missing out if you're not getting something decent of this caliber kind of player. If you're trying to chase the greats and you don't have LeBron in your collection, well, you're not chasing the greats, really. Unless it's a rookie card, in which case there's a couple of options. I do like the Topps Chrome, the one where he's shooting the ball, not the draft one, not the one. Not what's the other rookie card? I like the one where he's actually in uniform shooting, draft pick, like that one. The Topps Chrome.
Yep.
If you're not going after a rookie, I think it's all about your preference. Do you know what I mean? Like, get a card of LeBron that you like. If it's Miami LeBron, get a Miami LeBron. If it's a Cleveland LeBron, get a Cleveland LeBron. If it's Lakers, get one of each. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's don't get what you like. Get an insert that you like. Get some art you like, but show some appreciation to one of the greatest to lace them up.
Yeah,
I think.
So just two thoughts that I had as you were going through that then. So my problem is, and I'm putting Steph Curry into this too, it's actually quite cost prohibitive just to go out and say, like, I want to get an autograph, which it's really interesting because if you think about Hall of Famers, and this is probably not a great comparison actually, but I'm going to say it anyway, it's actually quite cheap to get some really good old school dudes that have signed an on-card autograph. But then, once you start going up into that, obviously that, incredibly high echelon, if I ever get a Steph Curry or I ever get a LeBron autograph, I think that actually is going to be an amazing thing because it'll be some freak thing where I win it in a Raz or I win it in a repack. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to go out and spend the $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it's going to cost to, to get it done. So,
do you know what's funny about that? Is like say 5 or 6 years ago, you could probably pick up a LeBron auto for less than a couple $100, nice and easily. And it's one of those, do it before it's too late. That's what.
And look, they're probably going to keep trickling up just for the fact that they're so scarce. He hasn't signed for what, 10 years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
So that's like one thing is obviously, the cost part of this. And look, even his inserts are crazy, aren't they? So what I think we should do to follow this up is, I think this is worthy of a segment. Let's do a LeBron specific insert exhibition, because it's 20 years of inserts, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be some sick ones out there.
Okay. So we'll put a post up. We'll get everybody's favorite LeBrons.
Yeah.
That could be almost an episode. It could be a double episode. That's a lot of years of basketball.
Mate, we're not doing a whole episode on LeBron, okay?
Just a whole episode on Lakers LeBron?
Alrighty, this next guy, I need to Google the correct spelling of his name before I go to card ladder, but we're going to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
SGA.
Or SGA for people like me who have a problem with speech pronunciation. I think this guy, we need to talk about him in terms of what's been important the last 12 months. I think hobby-wise, he has always been in people's minds, but I think the last couple of years in OKC has been tough for him. And I think this year was essentially his coming out party, him being named All-NBA. Actually, I think is amazing, really, because he wasn't on a really successful team, even though they played very well this year. But he's also in an incredibly small market. And I think I sort of can't believe I'm saying this, but it's almost like media outlets are actually now starting to pay attention to smaller markets. The fact they voted for this dude All-NBA is it's a real credit to that. So he's currently sitting at 350 for his silver PSA 10. I am shocked that it's sitting down this low. Of all the cards we've talked about the last 2 episodes.
It's interesting. There I go. I owe someone $1. 350 though. We spoke in the last episode about the floor of different players.
So Cade's at 300, Jar's at 400, Zion's at 500.
I actually think this is SGA fits exactly here.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
On that scale, there's maybe he should be up at the 400 mark, but small market, like he actually fits. So maybe the scales, maybe this sort of
the current pricing is right.
And there is a lot of putting players into these boxes, I guess.
But if I had jumped on tonight and this was 500, I wouldn't have been blown away.
I would have said that was hype. I would have reacted with a that's hype because of the All NBA selection. Do you know what I mean? Like I actually think 350 to 400 is a reasonable price.
Look, I think this is a sneaky good buy.
Yeah.
I think if you're buying into this is a very solid purchase. He's young.
He's very young. You've got
and All NBA.
And he's below the scale, sort of.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was up around that 400 to 450 mark at the start of next season. I mean, we'll see what happens when Chet actually plays some basketball for them.
Yeah, they are so loaded, that team. They are so loaded.
It's true.
Right, from one gun to another, Luka Doncic, PSA 10 silver, last sold for 1,373.
Why is Luka on the run sheet? They didn't even make the playoffs.
I think Luka is very important to the hobby.
Yeah, I'm just staring because I don't know.
I actually think the last 12 months he's taken a lot of criticism, frankly, unfairly.
Unfairly?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
So the roster construction is not his fault. It's not his fault they overpaid 25% of their roster. It's not his fault that they hired Jason Kidd. You could criticize him for maybe being a little bit too ball dominant, but you could also say, well, statistically, you're better off having the ball in Luka's hands than Tim Hardaway Jr. So
true.
That's why he controls the ball so much.
Yeah. Look, it's interesting.
It is interesting.
I'm allowed to go back to using that word. This is 91.
Okay.
Thinking. But I don't know. I don't say it's his fault, but I think he's been overhyped for what he's achieved, and that's going to be the narrative that I stick with until something changes.
Yeah.
Like I keep referring back to these scales and these sort of flaws with players, and I like Luka and Tatum, as far as I'm concerned, have achieved about the same. They don't have a chip.
So you think that this should be really $800, not $1,300?
I think he's a little bit overhyped. I think Tatum's probably a good buy at $800, but I don't know. I think maybe we're getting towards a floor with Luka, where people are like starting to put realistic expectations on the guy. Like I think he had Ferrugia factor at first. Like he was putting up amazing numbers, but there's no results coming with those numbers. That's the part we're getting to now, and that's not his fault. You're correct, but they're still not getting the results. He has 0 MVPs.
Hang on, just to clarify when you say results, because I think his scoring numbers and his PER and his assist numbers are like some of the best in history, but they haven't had team success. I think, is that what you're saying? Or are you saying
got no individual awards to go with it? He's got no MVP.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, he's put great numbers up, but he's got no MVPs.
Yeah.
He's not. Do you know what I mean? The numbers say he's a good player. There's no doubt there, but there is no team success and there's no individual accolades to show he is as great as everybody says he is.
Yeah.
Right. I wasn't saying that Luka should have won it instead of Embiid this year. I was saying Jokic deserved a third MVP. Like, and that's the level you need to be at, and I don't think he's quite there. And and you're right. It's probably because of the main office, the front office, because Denver have got it right. They've put all the pieces around it. They got it right. Dallas have not got it right.
Yeah,
they went and got Kyrie Irving.
They've got some work to do.
Right? They didn't have Jamal Murray next to Doncic. They went and bought a Kyrie to put next to him.
I actually think the Kyrie is a high risk, high reward scenario. And the other thing about that too is, if I'm not mistaken, he's a free agent at the moment.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I just worry that Kyrie brings toxicity to the establishment. That's my only concern. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I just think Luka needs to be judged with those that he has achieved the same as, or is expected to achieve the same as, and I think he is to an extent underperformed.
Okay.
And as such, the market is starting to see concerns.
Well, I think in this current market, 1,300, nearly 1,400, I actually think that's pretty good.
I think it's good, given 6 months ago it was up at the 2,300 mark.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of that is to do with sort of the market correcting, as opposed to people legit just going, this guy's a bust and I'm jumping off, right? Hey, listen, can we talk about base PSA 10 first before we talk about silver? Is that okay?
I was going to say, this is the one where combined we've got over 30,000, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think this actually to me is really interesting. And I think in terms of a 12-month conversation, this is worth discussing, because I think this is the other thing where I think collectors have come around a little bit. So if you go to CardLad and go to all time, so the base PSA 10 sold at its highest point for 2,000 USD, and it's currently sitting at 240. So obviously, without saying the obvious, $2,000 is what we would call like the COVID crazies, and it's very unfortunate who did pay for that. You literally are never going to get your money back. The population on that is 19,000, and again, these are numbers that we'd never really seen before, and even since then, we haven't seen those numbers again. Like, there's nothing 10% of that with Cade Cunningham. Even LaMelo, is probably about 20% of this. So, and that's a really interesting one if you think about how many people.
This is exactly what happens when you lock everybody at home and give them nothing to do except for buy basketball cards and get them graded.
Now, if you go to the last 3 months on this card, look how many purchase points there are on this, and it's the same on the silver. If you want to talk about the definition of a liquid card, the Luka Doncic PSA 10 silver and PSA 10 base is the definition of it. There are so many data points here. This data is, for me, very, very reliable. So if you look at the last 3 months, he's down 27%. So
I'm looking at the base. There's been almost 300 sales in the last 3 months.
Look, am I recommending that you buy this card? No, I'm definitely not. But if you want to buy in and this is your price point, I think that's okay. Do I think it's a good buy to flip? I think that's very treacherous, and as a stay
I
away.
feel like any kind of flip mentality in the current market is buyer beware.
Super tricky.
Very risky, yeah.
So shops at the moment are basically offering like 50 to 60% of comps just because of how difficult it is to then on sell, but also with like cards depreciating down.
Yeah, unless they've got buyers lined up, they are not paying decent comps. Yeah.
Now, if we flick over to the silver PSA 10, pop on that is 2,200, which doesn't sound the same as 20,000, but relatively that's still quite high for a short printed card.
Yeah, for sure.
Last sold for 1,377, high price of 1,777, so like nearly 1,800. Look, I feel the same way I feel about this as the 500,000 on that LeBron rookie.
Yeah.
It's not great when you look at the numbers in terms of the growth, over the last 12 months. I don't think I said that actually. So he's down 27%. But still, it's a very decent amount for a card. My only concern about this is just the pop count. And so I think I've said this before. I think probably the better thing to do is look at some numbered stuff. And if your price point is PSA 9 or BGS 9.5 or PSA 8, PSA 7, I think that's totally fine.
And I don't. Fast break blue to 175. PSA 10 last sold for 4,400. Although card ladder value of 2,700.
Yeah, right.
But its peak was at 10K not long ago, Christmas.
Maybe this is actually one that in the next 12 months he is going to go down for all the things that you just said. People have bought into this guy really heavily. They're not seeing the results. I think you're actually starting to spin me around a little bit on this dude.
He can come out and if he comes out and wins an MVP next season and Dallas win the chip, then I eat humble pie. But I just don't see Dallas doing this. And I don't know. It's like paying Jordan prices for LeBron.
My everlasting feeling about Luka is that he's a very solid purchase and long term. It's very, very good. And I still feel like that, to be honest. But
it could be Karl Malone for all we know.
I don't think so. I think the amount of talent that he's got, and you can build a team around this guy.
I was going to say he's not going to score as many points as Karl Malone, but that's
maybe not
sticking another knife into Luka.
He did score a lot of points, to be fair.
Yeah, but he could just end up as one of those really good players that didn't do anything. At least he's not toting guns and.
Look, I'm still going to recommend Luka as a purchase, but I will admit you are actually starting to get to me a little bit. Maybe it is an idea to wait 6 months to sort of see how it pans out, but yeah.
And I don't say it lightly. I don't want Luka to be a bust.
No,
I have my reservations and concerns because everyone's like Luka, and I'm just saying this guy's losing and didn't make the playoffs. Why is everyone saying get on the train? So I need to see more out of Luka and the Mavericks for that matter, because he's like, I'm a one team guy, and if that one team's going to destroy your career, maybe it's a bad idea. But
so segueing into our next player is Trae Young, who was coincidentally traded for Luka at the start of his career. He has taken an exponential dip, and
he's entered a diving contest.
And this is the one that, for me, over the last 12 months, is the one I've been the most surprised about, because he has all the things in my mind that he should be successful in the hobby. He has that Frugia factor. He's got that amazing ball handling, the 3-point shooting. He was on a pretty good team. They probably underperformed maybe 10% this year, but, nothing crazy. They've got a new coach who I think was an absolute upgrade. They did it mid-season, so it kind of makes me think that with, an off-season of preparation, and they'll make a few tweaks to the roster that will better suit the coach. I'm actually quite optimistic here. The thing I'm not optimistic about is, him turning it around. I've got this very bad feeling about Trae, is that people have jumped off and won't hop back on. So he's currently sitting at 220.
It's an interesting price point, actually.
I got to say, I think this is a good, sensible buy, but what I'm worried about is that my feelings aren't going to reflect what's going to happen in the general hobby.
I feel like the market is making a statement with this, and I feel like they've created a bucket of no confidence. You know how we've got Cade, everyone's up prepared to pay 300?
Yeah.
They're not paying that for him. And I feel like the floor might be 150. I don't know. I just but do you know what I mean? Like it's a stars that have let us down. The ceiling, the floor is 150.
Yeah. So
I think if you could pick up a Trae Young silver for 150, do look at the pop count once again. Almost 2,300 with the PSA
crazy high, isn't it? Yeah.
PSA 10 because he was in Luka's class. There's a lot of that product open, a lot of it graded.
So he's plateaued. So the last 5 sales were 220, 243, 215, 217, 217, and 220. Yeah. So maybe 220 is actually his floor.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that 200, but yeah.
Look, if you've got no Trae in your collection and you want one, now is the time to buy it. I think this is.
I reckon if you pick up a Trae Young for 200 or less, then you're doing really well. Simple as that. Good opportunity. What do you got to lose? Apart from
the lowest it's sold in the last 3 months though is 220. So
I'm just saying if it dips off, and my general thought is that while we wait for the draft to happen, while we wait for pre-seasons and rosters to take shape, there's a tendency.
No, you're right.
It dips at this point. So I think I'd be looking at that, trying to get it for 180 to 200 is a good buy. Because I still think Trae's a very, very, a very good player.
So our next one is who should have been the unanimous Rookie of the Year, but for one vote, because of some jackass in Utah, he didn't get every vote. I've got no problem saying that. That was appalling. It really was. That guy should be
Someone
fired.
Just did it to be different.
Just to be annoying, really.
Come on. We can't have a unanimous winner of Rookie of the Year.
So the reason why unanimous is important, though, is because those rookies don't come along all the time. And the point I'm actually trying to make here is that this kid is special. He's got a lot of tools. There was a photo that surfaced of him recently where he looked taller than the Joker. So this also fits into one of my theories that I love the most is when prospects are still growing. So I was already very high on this kid, but this has actually almost driven me to like sort of fever pitch. So I'm all in on this guy. His prices at the moment are actually on a downward slump.
Yeah.
For me, there's no explanation other than, the hype is starting to die down a little bit. Does that mean it's now not a bad time to buy? No, it means it's a good time to buy. Yeah. So let me give you an example of that. A red number to 299 recently sold for $233.
Yep.
Whoever purchased that is literally the best spent 300 odd Aussie dollars I've ever seen in my life. Just congratulations. That is just amazing.
That is good. Good value. Yeah. Good value.
So basically where I'm going with this is buy Banchero.
Yeah. Because eventually he'll come to Los Angeles like all good Orlando number 1 picks do. Dwight, Shaq.
You can't help yourself, can you?
It doesn't. It's happened. It's fact. It's history.
Silver PSA 10 last sold for $477. So where does that fit us in? Higher than Jar. Yep. About the same as Zion, but less than Tatum.
He's in that. That's where Cade would have been if he'd been playing, I think.
Look.
You know what I mean? Like.
So, okay, this is perfect. Would you rather have a Paulo Banchero or a Zion Williamson?
Is that a trick question?
No. I genuinely.
I don't want a Zion.
Yeah.
I'm not taking Zion over Paulo.
I think that's literally the perfect question at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Seems pretty obvious.
I love this so much.
It's interesting how the market decides things, though, and it sort of starts to
make sense.
Well, it makes sense. It sorts itself out. There's balance. There's consistency. There's a narrative. There's logic and reason to why cards are valued the way they are. Yep. Like people are starting to, like the hobby is speaking with their wallets.
Yep. I'm just going to roll off just a few sold cards because
We don't have
Actually,
we don't have really card. We won't have
so he's
card
not
lab
on
data
Card
for a
Ladder,
while. So
but I'm just going through eBay solds. But actually, this is really cool because there is literally every price point here. So Fast
yeah,
Break Autograph for $227. Cracked
sweet,
Cracked Ice, which I love this variant, for $29. His
nice.
base, that's a Monopoly card, $6. That's fine.
Yeah,
Then going down here, this is, well, it's a Monopoly card, but it looks to me like almost a Chronicles card that sold for
yeah,
$1. So again, we're touching all price points here. This is, I really like this.
yeah.
Now, this is really juicy. A raw silver sold for $73. So in terms of like buying that card, getting
Mm,
it graded, sending it off to PSA, that's actually a really cool play.
yeah.
That's actually very
Very
juicy.
nice. Yeah, yeah. Very, very.
Final thoughts
Paolo.
on Banchero?
Look, it's good to see that there's no. I don't think the hype train is as packed as it used to be. I'm not saying Banchero is a bad player. I just don't think, given the current state of the economy and the hobby, I think what's happening is a simple case of people are just buying solid players. So he's not getting overhyped, but he's being respected with the prices that he gets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
I think we've seen the market correct to an extent and people respecting the fact that he is a good player by paying reasonable amounts of money for him.
so I think one of my objectives when I started doing this show was that we wouldn't be doing the headlines like
Yeah.
First Take do and ESPN do, but we would actually be doing thoughtful content. So
Look,
staying,
as much as that disappoints me not having clickbait daily, that was going to be the new other name of the podcast, Clickbait Daily, and we were just going to.
I
I'm
think,
kidding. Anyway.
but no, seriously though, like I think that we should look into pockets of value that can be
Mm.
had and
Yep.
try and talk sense into a hobby that sometimes can be a little bit zany and crazy.
Mm.
And for me, this is so obviously undervalued with the amount of talent this kid has. We can't not highlight that.
I think in previous years he would be
Yeah.
Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
Like the market goes, oh my god, I've got to have it, right? The hobby aren't doing that anymore. They're like, this kid's good. I'll pick one up at the price I'm prepared to pay. And those prices aren't insane at the moment because the reality is because of the economy where the Ferrugia factor is not as influential on people's sanity.
Well, okay, yeah, so there's a few things that go into that additionally too. It's his market where he plays, Orlando.
Yeah,
They're
that's
not
terrible.
particularly an exciting team to watch.
Nope.
And then the other thing too is the downswing in the hobby and what you spoke about with the
Yeah.
economy. But imagine if he was in the draft that LaMelo was in. Like, you can't tell me that the prices that people paid for LaMelo, they wouldn't be paying for Banchero.
Yeah.
There's,
They would be
you
paying
can't
insane prices.
you can't convince me otherwise. So, and that's the other thing that I'm trying to.
So if it was Paolo was in Zion's year, people would be paying
Well,
$2,000 for it.
no, I think that's different. A little bit different conversation again because Zion was a
Then is
freak
he
of
Ja?
nature,
Is he
and
Ja then?
Ja was kind of crazy too. That was in terms of prospecting and excitement, that was a very unique year.
But you look at skill level, like you said, he's
No, I don't
paid him,
disagree with what
paid
you're
him selling
saying.
for like $800 at the moment. Paolo's like not even getting any level of respect like that.
No, he's not. He is definitely not.
So look, I do think people are a little bit more cautious. There's a lot of
There's a lot more
less
caution. Yeah.
There's a lot less impulsive buying, which
Yep.
takes away from that spiky, crazy feeding off one another.
Yep.
But yeah, certainly, certainly a different landscape.
We also wanted to highlight some of the other things we've discussed this year that were important to us, so case hits. So in episode 78, we spoke about Court Kings, the level 4 case hits.
Yeah.
I think they're very important cards. I think that in the last 12 months, that's what's also become very apparent is that there's cards that are very important and cards that aren't important, and the market has definitely separated those cards. And the other one is kabooms. Kabooms have absolutely solidified themselves. We did a deep dive into kabooms, episode 88. So if you'd like to go back, and if you've missed that, that's the 2 episodes. I would definitely
big one
recommend.
with the introduction of the numbered kaboom.
Yep.
Good listen.
Right. So we can't go very far without our boy Eric. Eric, at Eric Whiteback, he posted the video footage of the triple logoman getting pulled.
It did.
It's some pretty funny stuff.
Already, there's guys. It's hilarious how you go such a long period of time without certain logomans going, and then instantly, on release. Yeah.
So congratulations to Mojo Breaks. I'm so glad they pulled it and not Backyard Breaks. That's fantastic. So it's Steph Curry, LeBron, and Luka. It's just...
So it's Steph, LeBron, and some other guy. I couldn't help myself. Yes.
You couldn't.
And Luka.
So...
2 Hall of Famers and some bloke from Dallas.
I feel like this card has copped some shade. Where do you sit on this card?
I don't like Luka being on it.
Okay.
Noted.
What about that it's a triple logoman with no autographs? How do you feel about that?
What, that there aren't autos on it?
Because that's not what the logo. That's some of the criticism that people have.
The single logo man's got the auto, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different card. That's a different type of card.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the LeBron triple logo man didn't have his auto on it.
No, I was asking your opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like this card has copped like way more heat than what I would have expected.
Yeah, I just give it because, and look, as I said, I'm such a Luka basher at the moment. I don't mean it. I just don't think he warrants being on that card because he hasn't achieved anything.
Okay, and look, I'm actually not going to disagree with you right now. So, who do you think should be there?
Giannis.
Okay, what about the Joker?
Well, Jokic, yeah, Jokic or Giannis.
I actually think that's the one who probably should be there.
Do you know what? If they'd given him the MVP and he was a 3-time MVP winner, I'd love to see him on that card. No, you're right, Jokic. You're right. Yeah. Just flat out Jokic. If it was a year or 2 earlier, it would have been Giannis. You're right, Jokic. And
so you've said Luka shouldn't be on there, and just for and giggles, let's say I think LeBron shouldn't be there. And we're talking about the last 12 months. The last 12 months, Steph and Joker, who else should be sitting with them up there?
Are you ready for my we'll take Steph and LeBron off. We'll leave Luka on with Tatum and Embiid.
Come
3
on.
players. Oh, wait. Embiid's now. Yeah, right. Embiid's got an MVP, so we can't put him on. Anyway.
No, really.
Zion and Tatum. There we go. 3 players that have got the same accolades between them. Now that's just Luka hating, but it's, do you know what I mean? Like it's like sitting someone, putting up Mount Rushmore and then putting like Joe Bloggs from down the street as one of the heads on Mount Rushmore.
So Embiid won MVP, right? Joker got Finals MVP.
And Western Conference MVP, because there's 26 MVP awards that come out throughout the year now.
Maybe it should be Jimmy Butler, Embiid, and Joker. I know that card is way more collectible what Panini have made.
Yeah.
But
why do you make 2 cards?
Almost like the fan favorite, and then you've got
isn't there an Embiid, Giannis, and Jokic one?
Yeah, there was a big man one.
There was a big man, like the top 3 of the MVP race, funnily enough.
I don't think Jimmy Bucket's got one though.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Buckets, Tatum, and Doncic.
All right, I want to talk about buying and selling sealed at the moment. So recently, someone put up on eBay quite a lot of sealed blasters and megas. So they put up 1718 blasters, they put up 1920 blasters, and 1920 Prism megas. So the final sold prices of the 1718 blasters was 105 USD. And just for some comparison, on Dave and Adams, who is not the world's greatest online retailer, but they are big.
One of the most prominent, well-known.
Well-stocked. So if you want something, like I could go on there in 5 minutes and find what I was looking for. So they're selling them for $134.
Yep.
The 1920 blaster on eBay sold for $72 is currently for sale on David Adams for $129, which actually was discounted like $100.
Okay.
The 1920 Mega sold for $135 and is listed for $229. So there's two things about this. The market has clearly changed.
Yep.
That's one thing. And the second thing is, I think you have a very high testicular fortitude to be putting sealed product on eBay at the moment for 99-cent auction. And I think that the end outcome could be that you sell it for $72 when other places are listing it for $129. And look, it might be that you needed to sell it. Like, we've said this, like, I feel like almost I need to do like a clip of that and just keep playing it back. But,
Yeah.
The market has changed dramatically. Like, for me, it's amazing. So sub 100 1920 blasters, I think at one point they were selling for like 300.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
So that leads us into our next part. On Sports Card Nonsense, a gentleman by the name of Ricky Simpson put up this amazing picture of a man cave. But the picture that I want to talk about is he's got this bookshelf and it's just filled up with sealed product. And on the top, he's got all this sealed packets just sitting there so that you can just go along and rip one here and rip one there. And I think now is the right time to be buying sealed product to rip. And what we've just seen happen on eBay is the perfect example of that. And I definitely want to steal Ricky's idea of, I'll be doing this, but I will not be doing it to the degree or extent of what this man has achieved here. So
I reckon his insurance premiums just dropped quite a bit looking at this man cave. Sorry, I'm just seeing a lot of 77 around the room, so he's a Luka fan.
You're an absolute Luka hater. I'm going to send you a cup that's got Luka hater written on it, and you can just sip your coffee out of it every morning.
Oh my God, poor Luka. Anyway.
So, look, I think the conversation has to be had. eBay is good to buy sealed off at the moment.
Damn right. Yeah, for sure.
And now is the time to buy retail product that you enjoy ripping. And if you rip one pack a day and get through that retail box in, say, 2 or 3 weeks, I think for what you spend and the enjoyment you get back from it, you will enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I did a sneaky buy. I bought some sneaky sealed, but I did older stuff. I bought some, was it 89-90 hoops? The one with the Mark Jackson, Menendez brothers, the Jordan.
Sweet.
The number Jordan in the 12. That I thought it was $120 or something.
Yeah.
For 36 packs of old stuff. And I'm like, you know what? It's probably not going to be gradable. I ended up with a couple of like Sean Kemp rookie cards, and I got the Menendez brothers card that I wanted, and I got a Jordan in the number 12, and I got a normal Jordan and a few bits and pieces. And you know what? I had a lot of fun ripping it.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. It's like, I don't care if I break even, to be frank. It was like, I just wanted to rip a box of cards.
Yeah. And I think that's where I've really struggled the last couple of years, and why I've been going to so many breaks is that I could not stomach opening a hobby box. Honestly, it was just wasn't an enjoyable thing. It was like, frankly, it was like a little bit stressful. Whereas,
because of the cost,
yeah,
agreed.
If you're spending $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, and who knows what you're going to get back.
So and this is the thing, right? So I remember when one of the times I come back into the hobby, which was around 2015, 16.
Yeah.
And like between 2015 and 2018, being able to buy hobby boxes for a couple of $100, like select, like I could buy a select hobby box for less than $200, go home and just rip it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that we're going to see hobby go back to that, but I think,
of course not. But
like, even if you think about what happens the last couple of years with retail, like, it was out of control.
Like paying $400 or $500 for a retail box.
I think retail was going for more than that. Sometimes like 1,000, like 1920. So I think now's a really good time to check in with our sponsors, EJ Cards. EJ, thank you so much for sponsoring us and all the love and support you've given us. And let's check in on what they've got for sale on their website that we think would be fun to rip.
I promise I'm not going to jump online and buy it straight away just to rip for the sake of it. We'll let our listeners enjoy these deals.
So this is keeping in the thought of putting it into your man cave and opening up a pack a day.
Okay.
So Optic retail 21.22 at $139 a box.
Nice.
There's 20 packs in there, so that goes to $6.95 a pack.
Yep. Very good.
Not so bad.
You just weekdays, one a day, Monday to Friday, the work week. You get to open a pack of cards. It's a whole month done.
Delicious.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Need something for the weekends though. Come on, Russell. Give me something for the weekends.
All right, I got something for the weekend. Panini Basketball Contenders Fat Packs. There's quite a few cards in this. So this is kind of a tricky one because the actual number of packs in it is not...
Oh, okay, because they're more cards per pack, not yeah.
So there's 12 cards, 12 packets in that.
Could be a weekend experiment.
That goes to 15 a pack. Look, I think that's a fun buy.
That's what it, yeah.
Now,
it's beautiful to see the hobby actually coming back to that.
I just want to be explicit when I say this. When I say fun, I'm not saying you're going to get a return on your investment here. You need to be opening this because you enjoy opening packs to see what's going to come out.
Can I help set the scene with this, Russell?
Sure.
You can go to the cinemas these days and spend $25 on a movie, or maybe $30, movie and a drink and popcorn, right? And that's 2.5 hours of entertainment.
Yeah.
With that in mind, you don't go away with anything except the experience.
The experience and the time you spent with your loved ones.
Correct. So that's all you get out of it. Yes. Anyway.
So the last two I'm just going to talk about is Prism Retail. So 22.23. They've currently got that on sale for $2.29. Now, I probably think that will come down a little bit because this is relatively new product.
Yep.
So if you go back 12 months, the 21.22 is now selling for about $130 to $180 a box. So yeah, that's the other one. But the one that I'm going to finish with is the mega boxes. So these are the ones that traditionally did really well on the aftermarket flip game. They've currently got one at EJ Cards for $139. So
nice. Very nice.
Heaps of cards in that. It's not packs for days because there's not many packs. They're those like big packs. But definitely, again, for enjoyment of ripping cards, it's just I gotta say, my enjoyment in the hobby the last 6 months has increased dramatically because I feel like the dollars I've got to spend just go that little bit further. I'm not too sure how you feel about that, but
yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah,
you things don't feel as out of reach.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Well, on that note, that is the end of today's show.
Yes. We're at the end of the 2022-23 NBA season, but that does not mean we're at the end of product releases. That's for sure.
They just are going to keep coming.
They are, and we've got a draft soon. We've got plenty to unpack. Over the coming months and the lead up to next season, and it's I'll get off my Luka bashing podium.
Yeah, you need to have like a cup of chill on this guy. To be honest,
I'm sorry. I feel like
just gone too far. Right?
I feel like I need to be the balancing force here. There's just too much crazy. Just consider me the one-man intervention on Luka Doncic.
Too much Luka love from this side of the mic. Is that what you're saying?
It's just look. It's not from your side of the mic. It's from the hobby. It's like, come on, guys. Come on, put it into perspective.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Take care of yourselves.
See you next time, guys.